For more analysis now, we're joined by political analyst Thembisa Fakude. Thembisa, good evening to you. Thanks for your time. I suppose no surprise then that we have seen the president come under the kind of pressure that we understand he has over this past weekend at the NEC meeting. Yes, we've known about Phala Phala for a couple of months now, but not surprising that his political opponents would use and wait for this moment to strike hardest.
Yeah, but all of us are waiting for something on Phala Phala from the president, which was a bit of a tall order from some of us, but that didn't happen. And the report, of course, based on rumors and some of the so-called reliable sources, is that the president was under pressure to explain himself to the NEC regarding the Phala Phala, which has been seen by many within the ANC as has caused some kind of put the organization in the form of some sort of disrepute. So it's a very difficult situation for the president. He finds himself in a corner. But I'm not quite sure whether at the moment he is really concerned, given that there is a process taking place in Parliament, there's a process within the ANC, and that report is also still to be published. So there are a lot of processes that are going on, and I think it was a bit comfortable that he's going to make it through, and we hope that after the conference in December, we'll see a much more emboldened and empowered Cyril Ramaphosa moving forward.
That's if, of course, he survives the elective conference, or do you not think that anything related to Phala Phala could be a hindrance to him coming back as party president?
Not at this point. I think the step aside, the policy of the ANC only deals with those that are criminally charged. At the moment, it doesn't look as if the president will face criminal charges. So he is likely to stand as the president of the ANC. And if we were to believe all the speculations and surveys that have been taken formally and informally, he looks likely to be the next president of the ANC, post this conference. So we'll have to wait and see. But I don't think there's anything that will stop him at the moment in terms of excluding him from the race. The only thing that can exclude him from the race is if he is criminally charged, and that at the moment is far-fetched.
Let's talk then about just the expectations that are set in the imagination and of the public more broadly, because this is a president, again, who has been seen to be speaking largely against corruption. The fact that he could well be re-elected to that position with this Phala Phala issue hanging over his head, how long can this situation go on for? At least to the extent that there are no clear answers from the president, and he successfully kicked the can further and further down the road.
Well, somebody said something very interesting earlier on, that if you look at the current NEC at the moment, every one of them is tainted, and the president is less tainted compared to some of his colleagues within the NEC. So he's the best that the ANC has at the moment. It's convenient, and it's a low-hanging criticism for some of the NEC members to criticize the president because of Phala Phala. But if you really look at the history and the background of many of them, they are much more tainted than the president, and they've actually created a much more, a dire image problem for the ANC. So he is likely to follow process as a due process man, as we have seen him in the past. And I think this time around he has stuck and dug in his heels in terms of following due process. And I think he will allow the due process to take place. And as I've said earlier on, I don't see anything at the moment coming in to impede him from standing as the next presidential candidate for the ANC.
One of the other things, of course, that emerges, particularly following a weekend like what we've seen, is an impression of the ANC really being very inward-looking and caught up in its internal political party fights and factions, that, the big questions that the country is dealing or facing, the big challenges the country is facing, don't seem to be emerging as top-of-list items that need to be addressed.
That's of greatest concern, isn't it? That the country is facing so many challenges, and unfortunately, many people are looking at the president for leadership. And right now, what we see the president that's dragging his feet in terms of addressing a lot of agent issues within South Africa at the moment. And that, again, is bringing criticism not only to him but to the ANC, and people are rapidly losing confidence in the ANC, that the ANC could be the party that will solve their problems. So it's not good news for the ANC, particularly as we head towards the 2024 elections. And the president would have expected ordinarily that he will be grabbing the bulls by the horns and leading at the moment. But it seems as if he's much more concerned about what's going to be happening next month at the conference of the ANC. And we all hope, as citizens of this country, that once that hurdle is out of the way, we'll see a much more emboldened and enthusiastic president that will deal with the day-to-day issues that impact on all of us, issues of crime, GBV, land invasion that we see all over the place, the state and the deterioration of infrastructure. All those kind of things are impacting on the daily lives of normal citizens in this country. And we hope that after this conference, which many people believe is what the president is kind of concentrating on, so that he can have a tenure come 2024, and it will concentrate on delivering for South Africans. So we hope that will happen. But at the moment, it seems as if the president is only concentrating on the conference and not necessarily on the agencies that most South Africans are concerned about.
Thembisa, I'm listening to you speak, and it's almost having a bit of deja vu, thinking back to the 2017, campaign, and just this idea of the fact that an election at the time would embolden Ramaphosa, then not president of the ANC, to take over and make sweeping changes. What makes this round any different to what it was the last time?
It's a good question. I mean, I'm just hoping, like you, Kathy, that we'll see a much more enthusiastic president. He has invited so many nicknames over the past. One of them that I remember in 2017 was Ramaphosa, because people felt that he was just keep on postponing issues. And we hope that after this one, we'll see a different Cyril Ramaphosa. I mean, there's been some lot of achievements in terms of, particularly economically, for some of us who are close to action. We've seen a lot of investment coming to South Africa, etc. But the day-to-day issues that impact on day-to-day lives of ordinary South Africans, nothing has changed. And that's where we want to see a change and difference. So we hope that as he approaches his last 10 years as president, both of the ANC and the country, will see a much more quicker, fast-moving and a more, enthusiastic president who is concerned about the day-to-day realities of South Africans. At the moment, it doesn't seem so, at least according to many people that we speak to on the ground.
All right. Thembisa, we'll leave it there for tonight. He's a political analyst.